Alright guys, so I've perfected my morning coffee. So what I put in is half a packet of this ginger drink. Then I put some ground cinnamon, that goes in there, and all over the counter of course. And then turmeric, whack some of that in. Then a little bit of honey. Oh, what we're saying. Also a part of my morning beverage routine is cucumber water. So literally just sliced up some cucumbers, put it in a glass of water. If you're like me, drinking water is sometimes a struggle just because there's no flavor or anything like that. But it's so important, so if you slice up a few cucumbers in there, it gives it a little bit of taste, really refreshing, and actually so good for you as well. You should look up the health benefits. But welcome back to another video, guys. Hope everyone is doing well. I just want to say a huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Squarespace is where I built my website, www.7mlctraining.com. You guys have been on there if you've read any of my blog posts. Maybe you've listened to my podcasts on there. You've gotten some of my programs from there. But I really appreciate Squarespace for sponsoring this video, supporting the channel. If you have ever considered building your own website, make sure you check them out and use my link, which will be in the description. It's going to be www.squarespace.com/7mlc, and you can get 10% off your first website. But welcome back to another video. Today is going to be a lower body workout day. I've already got my exercises all planned out. So I'm starting with some activation and mobility and then moving into the weights. So these are all the exercises with the reps and sets that I'm going to be doing. So I'll take you guys down there and show you everything I'm doing. But of course, I'm starting my day as always with my morning routine, just responding to some emails, making sure I'm caught up in everything on my computer. And then I'm going to go downstairs and start with 10 minutes of ball mastery. So just about to get into my ball mastery. This is the setup for today. So I'm doing day 2 of Maestro 2.0, my ball mastery training program. So if you've done either of my Maestro training programs, you'll know that each day has 7 exercises. So you complete each exercise for 1 minute with about 20 seconds rest between each one. So it ends up being about a 10-minute workout. So if you want to write down these exercises, you've got in day 2 of Maestro 2.0 as well to work on at home. So I'm just going to get into it, set up my camera. I'll show you a glimpse of each exercise and we'll get about 10 minutes of ball mastery in. So let's go. So in just 10 minutes, as you can see, you can get hundreds of extra touches, and if you do this every day, it's just going to mount up and you're going to feel so much more confident on the ball. And that's one thing I do appreciate about this time, is a lot of players and coaches are pushing the ball mastery because people are having to be a little bit more creative right now, training at home, getting those touches. So ball mastery is something that a lot of players are doing, and I'm getting so many messages from players letting me know how much they've improved their ball control just by applying simple ball mastery skills into their weekly and daily training schedule. So really good to see, and I hope those players continue ball mastery once football resumes. We're back training with our teams because it's so important just to get those little touches, learn how to manipulate the ball with all the different surface areas of the foot. It's going to help you in those tight space situations and just your overall performance on the pitch. So really good to see. If you want to do my workouts, I've got a full playlist for ball mastery exercises, or you can make up your own. It's completely up to you. But just get 10 minutes of ball mastery every single day and you're going to see a huge improvement in your game. But that's the ball mastery session done. Now I'm going to head upstairs, get some breakfast. So this is what I'm having for breakfast. Bagel with salmon, we've got cucumbers, capers, onions, egg, and a little bit of seasoning, and then more cucumber water. So that's breakfast. I'll let this digest and then we'll go down and get this leg workout in. So I'll show you all of the exercises I'm gonna do. But before I do that, I just wanna show you some drills that I did yesterday. So yesterday was a technical day. So I did my normal routine, ball mastery in the morning. Then I did my passing work off the wall in the basement that you guys saw in my previous video. I'll put a link to that on the screen right now if you want to see that full workout. So I did my full technical day. Then as you guys know, I always head to the pitch and get a few extra touches in, usually focusing on something that I can't accomplish in my own house. So yesterday I was doing a lot of close control dribbling. So I set up 3 drills in total, then just went through them a few times. I think I did a warm-up ball mastery drill that I went through twice. Then I did the quadrado drill, which is a little bit of acceleration with and without the ball. I did that 3 times. And then I did the pato drill, which you guys have seen in my 5 dribbling drills video. I did that about 5 times. So I'll show you all those drills right now. So the first drill was just to work on some dynamic ball mastery, getting the feet warm as well as the legs. So just using 9 cones, I've placed 1 in the middle, 4 sets of 2 cones around the outside. And then I'm just using a combination of the inside and outside and sole of both feet to make my way around the course. Every time I hit the middle, I go out to either wing and then continue forward and then repeat on the way back. And I just went through this one twice. Then once my legs were warm, I moved into the quadrado, which focuses on and off the ball accelerations. So this is what it looks like. You drive into the middle cone with the ball, you stop it with the sole, then you continue without the ball around the 2 bottom cones, you collect the ball in the middle once again, then you dribble around the 2 top cones and you stop the ball where you began, and that's 1 repetition. It's just a great way to focus on those accelerations on and off the ball because you're going to experience both during a match. And for this one, I just did 3 repetitions in total, and I was really warm by this point. And then I moved into my final drill, which is that pato drill. You guys have probably seen this one on my channel before, but I really love this one. Works on that close ball control as well as change of direction, so you really have to be precise and sharp with those touches. So you drive out to this first cone, get around it, through the 2 middle cones, down to the bottom, up to the square, and that's where you stop the ball, and that's 1 repetition. For this one, I did 5 repetitions in total. This is enough to get a good amount of touches, working on that acceleration as well with the ball, and just enough to get a good solid little training session in. Obviously, I'm doing this on top of my technical session, so I got a lot of touches in the basement earlier on, and I'm just working on some close control dribbling solely in this session, and that completed the close control dribbling training. Alright guys, about to get to my leg workout. I'm also going to do a little bit of a cardio workout on the treadmill. It's a very small one, it's basically just to warm up, but I'm making it a little bit more football specific because in football you're not always going at one speed. So I'm basically going to be doing a minute at low intensity, a minute at high intensity, and then doing that for 10 minutes. So it's just a little 10-minute cardio session on the treadmill, just to get the heart rate going, get all those muscles nice and warm. Also to talk a little bit more about the workout itself, because I get a lot of questions asking me what kind of strength training should you be doing, what's the perfect workout for a footballer, and there isn't one solution for every single athlete, every single player. And you see this even at the highest level. Different athletes have different bodies. If we look at Messi, if we look at Ronaldo, if we look at Adama Traore, because a lot of you have asked me about that, is it beneficial to bulk up like Adama does? Is that going to help you see improvements on the pitch? And it might work for some of you, it might not work for some of you. And that's the thing about being an athlete. It's a little bit of trial and error. Make sure you're going out there and doing your own research as well. Don't just take my word for it or anybody else's. Experiment and figure out what works the best for you, your genetics, your playing style, and then that's going to serve you best in the long run. So you're more than welcome to try my workout. You can adapt it, you can do it body weight, you can do these same exercises without the weights, you can add more weight if you want to. You play around with it and see what works best. That's enough chat, let's get on the treadmill, get warmed up, and then we'll get the session done, so let's go. So I started with my warm-up slash cardio portion, so I'm on the treadmill, and what I'm doing is just getting up to a medium pace, probably a level 7 or 8 on a 12-point treadmill. So I'm just getting my legs moving, getting the blood flowing, getting a good circulation, warming up those muscles gradually. And then once I'm warm, I'm cranking it up to level 12 and I'm going for a minute solid. So I'm going from a low intensity to a higher intensity. And this reflects the game of football a little bit more. You're not just going at one constant speed for a long period of time. You're always changing pace. And although this isn't a sprint pace or anything like that, it's still replicating a similar transition that you'll find in the game of football. So I just did this on and off, a minute at a medium pace, a minute at a high pace for 10 minutes. And that was my warm-up slash cardio.
Then once I was warm, I moved into some activation exercises with this resistance band. So activation is all about recruiting muscle fibers and essentially just switching them on. So if you guys followed my season series, I actually picked up a groin injury during the season, and the reason for it is because I wasn't activating my hip flexors, wasn't switching them on before training, and so that my groin had to overcompensate because of the lack of recruitment in my hip flexor. So if you're not activating your muscle fibers, another part of the body has to pick up the load, and this is where you pick up those small injuries, the muscle tears and things like that. So it's important to incorporate activation exercises at the start of your training session. So I would recommend getting one of these bands if you can, or you can find ways to do them without. I'm going to put some links in the description below if you want to find some bands, and if you want to do some more activation exercises, check out the rest of my channel. Then the next activation I'm doing here after working with the band, I'm squeezing this small ball between my knees there, just really activating that groin area, and then performing some bridges to really activate those glutes, the hamstrings and the groin. So the entire time I'm really squeezing and clamping on that ball while doing the bridge exercises. Then I moved into some core work, just a small exercise to activate the core. So I'm doing these dead bugs. So I'm just alternating arm and feet, holding the ball up in the air as I do so. Then the final exercise I did was some Copenhagen's to really recruit the muscle fibers in the adductors, my groin area, especially where I had my injury. Then with my opposite leg, I'm just touching the ground with my knee and then putting my knees together. And then I did the opposite side as well, so I just did 10 on either side, and at this point my muscles felt really activated. Then I moved into my strength workout. So the first is squat. So I'm grabbing the dumbbell. This dumbbell is 52.5 pounds. That's the max weight it goes up to. So I'm just holding it with both hands, squatting down and back up again, trying to keep those knees 90 degrees on the way down, pausing for a split second at the bottom, and then coming back up to my starting position again. So I'm doing 10 repetitions in total. And for this entire workout, it's always 10 reps, and then I repeat the entire circuit 3 times. I like to go from one exercise to the next. Instead of repeating one exercise 3 times, I do a bit of a circuit. So then I moved into some lunges. So I'm doing 10 repetitions, so 5 on each leg, just holding the dumbbell in each hand. I believe it's 35 pounds in my hands at this point. And then after that, I did some single leg Romanian deadlifts. So I'm holding the dumbbell in the opposite arm to the leg that's working. Then I'm bending forward at the hip. So really putting the stress on the hamstring in my straight leg. So as you can see, the back leg raises up. So the front leg is the one getting the work. So I'm doing 10 repetitions on each leg. This one also works on a bit of balance and stability as well. So this is a great exercise. Then I moved into some split squats, so I'm putting one leg on the bench. Then I'm bending the front leg. So this is putting a lot of stress on one leg at a time. I'm doing 10 repetitions on each leg. For this one, I believe I had 35 pounds in each hand. So then I'm going on the opposite leg too, doing 10 repetitions. This one is a killer for the legs. Trust me, do this one 3 times and you will feel it. And then I moved into some calf raises. So all I'm doing is holding those 35-pound dumbbells in each hand and then raising up onto my toes to activate those calf muscles. And again, for this one, I did 10 repetitions, repeating it 3 times. And then I did some side lunges as well. Like to move laterally with my lunges because you move laterally a lot during a match. So you want to be strong through this movement. And by working the muscles in different angles, you're just recruiting more fibers. Then that was my leg workout complete, and I moved into my core circuit that I do after every strength workout. So I'm doing some toe touches to begin with. Then I moved into some heel touches, so just going from side to side, really getting those obliques activated as well. Again, doing 10 repetitions on each side this time, so 20 in total. And then I did some leg lifts. I like to put my hands underneath my glutes just to give that back support. And again, for this one, I'm doing 10 repetitions. But piecing these few core exercises together, I feel like this gets a really good varied workout for the entire core. So you're getting lower abs, upper abs, the midsection, and then I always finish with a plank because that engages the entire core. This is really important to have that core stability. As mentioned, it makes all of your other movements a lot more efficient and absorbs a lot of the impact in exercise so that the other muscle groups around the body can work at their best for longer.
Alright guys, so that's the workout complete. As you can see, got a good sweat on there. It's a tough workout when you do 3 rounds of that. You definitely feel it in the legs. Mine are feeling like jelly now. But that's it for the rest of the day, so I can just recover, get a good meal in me after this, and then just use the rest of the evening to get a good stretch, a foam roll, and the legs will feel good tomorrow. They'll still feel a little bit sore, which is natural, because when you're doing these strength training, you're breaking down the muscle fibers a little bit, and then they have to rebuild. It's called delayed onset muscle soreness. So completely natural if you are feeling sore a couple of days after these leg sessions. Just make sure it's not physical pain. If it's really sharp pain, then it could be something a little bit more serious like a muscle strain. But if it's just a little bit sore, you're feeling a little bit tight, a little bit fatigued, that's completely normal. But great workout. Gonna go upstairs now and have some lunch. So this is what I'm having for lunch. Just got some chicken. I've just put some salt and pepper on that. And then I'm gonna add some of this red pepper cayenne, and I'm adding that to this salad. So in the salad we've got lettuce, cabbage, we've got chickpeas, bit of feta cheese, sun-dried tomatoes, bunch of good stuff in there. So that's going to be my lunch. But I actually wanted to share a little bit of a conversation that I had with Jack Blate and Matt Sheldon. I'm sure you guys know who both of those guys are. Both professional footballers in the USL Championship, have their own YouTube channels as well, which I would definitely recommend you guys subscribe to, especially if you're looking to play at the professional level. These guys do an amazing job of documenting their journey, showing the highs, the lows, everything about being a pro athlete. So I would definitely recommend checking both of them out if you don't know them already. Links are going to be in the description, but I wanted to share a little bit of a conversation that we had about a week ago. We covered some really good topics, including mental health in football, and that's what I'm sharing particularly in this video. It's just going to be portions of what Jack and Matt said, because you guys hear me talk all the time. So I wanted you to hear their voice and their experiences, because they're both playing in the USL Championship, as I mentioned, but both have pretty different stories on how they got there. But anyway, I'm just going to let you guys listen to a couple of thoughts from Jack and Matt about mental health in the game of football.
Alright guys, I think we should get straight into it. The first question that I had, and that one that I think is incredibly important that doesn't get spoken of enough about, is the mental health side of football. And so the question that I had written down was, do you think there is enough support for professional footballers on the mental health side? With it being such a brutal business, how have you managed to stay in the game mentally?
I think that it's always crazy with like the mental health side, because I think that's one of the things that like I had no idea like how much of a mental game it was, especially because when you're a kid, you kind of like have it more of a game. So like, even though you put pressure on yourself when you're a kid, I felt like you have a bad game, or, you know, you're having a bad week of training, or you get cut from a team, you do put pressure on yourself, but it's not the same as when you're a pro and like you get cut from a team, or you're a free agent, or you have a bad game, because then not only do you have all that pressure on yourself that you put on, but also you have like the external pressure of, am I going to be able to have a contract for next year? Am I going to be able to, you know, to provide for my family? I'm going to be able to like keep my career going. So I think it definitely like transitioning to higher and higher levels, there's more and more pressure. And I feel like it is kind of true. Like the mental health, I've seen it get to a lot of players, and I've seen a lot of players kind of break down and some like kind of thrive with it and some don't do too well. And honestly, this is like the first team here with FC Tulsa where we have like a psychologist that kind of is available to talk to. So I feel like it's good now, but like this is the first time, and I'm 28, that I've had a psychologist available to me. You know, it's kind of weird.
When I was growing up at Forest, I kind of felt like everything was spoon-fed. Like we had all the gear, we had the facilities, we had a psychologist we could speak to. And then it was only really for me when I left England and I went over to America that the mental side really came into effect, because it was almost like I'd cut complete ties of my family back home. You know, I came across with what my wife now, that was my girlfriend at the time. And it was almost like you were completely alone, completely solo. You didn't know anyone. And I think like the brutality of being cut, like at the age of, I was 21 at Forest and I've been there since I was 9 years of age. No one prepares you for that. Like there's no one that sits you down and says, okay, this might happen. If it does happen, this is what you should do. And at that time, it just happened so quickly. And it's interesting because when I was at the club for such a long period of time, and how I found out that I was getting released was I got a letter through the post. And that for me was a real hard pill to swallow. And that was what I think like left me a little bit bitter at the whole situation and wanted something completely unique. Like mentally, to deal with that at the time, you know, I'd put my heart and soul and my life into the game, and being at the club since 9 years of age, to then receive a letter through the post at 21 to say, sorry, we're not going to be renewing your contract, it was a bit like, right, this is actually real life now. And this is where like the mental side, I can either sink or I can swim. And for me, I just had to, in that split moment, just grow up. And that for me is the mental side was way harder than any attribute, football wise, physically. The mental side for me was the biggest hurdle I had to overcome to maintain and like stay in the game.
So there's just a couple of clips from Jack and Matt sharing their experience when it comes to mental health and football, which is so important, often overlooked because we always focus on the physical side of the game, training, getting fitter, getting stronger, getting more technical. But sometimes we overlook the mental side of the game, which ends up being the most important in the end. So as mentioned, if you want to watch that 4 hour plus long conversation, I'm going to link Matt's video down below. He posted the full conversation on his podcast channel, Against All Odds Podcast, so I've linked it, as well as Jack's video, which has at least a portion of that conversation, I believe, so I'll link that video down below as well. But both really great guys, really looking forward to meeting them in the flesh at some point in the near future. We're definitely going to get together, hopefully have some training sessions, and we can learn a lot more from them. So make sure you check out their channels. Again, they're linked down below as well. You won't regret it. You're going to learn so much. But that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. I want to say a really big thank you to Squarespace once again for sponsoring another video here on the 7MLC channel. I really appreciate their continued support. You guys have already seen my website, 7mlctraining.com. You can use these tabs up here if you want to get to know more about me. I've also got blog posts on here which do talk about the mental side of the game if you want to learn a bit more. I've also got my programs here in the shop. I've got my podcast up on here if you want to listen to my latest episode, and you can also connect with me through my website if you have any questions for me as well. So if you do have your own brand, business or anything, it's so important to make that commitment. Get your own website. It just puts everything in one place, makes it so easy for people to find, makes you look a lot more professional. And thanks to Squarespace, you don't need any coding or website design experience to make your website look really professional and really sharp. So make sure you check them out. Once again, the link is going to be in the description, www.squarespace.com/7mlc, and you can get 10% off your first website. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. There'll be more like this on the way. I'm going to share more about my upper body workouts, also my body weight workout days as well. And if you have any questions, make sure you drop them down below and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. But if you did enjoy today's video, make sure you smash the like button, hit the subscribe button for weekly training videos, and I will see you guys in my next video.